So English language proficiency policy and test. So the FMCSA English language proficiency enforcement overview, it's in 49 USC 31502 driver qualification standard. You can find the English language proficiency in 391.11 B2 of the book. It has been reinforced by executive order 14286 and CVSA action. And the policy did not have a time limit, nor did it have a public review. It went straight in the same day that the order was signed. Legal authority.
Quick question.
Okay.
When it says reinforced by executive order, if the reg was already there,
it's just being, I know what you're saying. It's just being reinforced. So they took enforcement out of it.
Yeah,
they
I
took,
got you.
So now they're reinforcing the rule.
Okay.
So now they can fine you, place your driver out of service, and now it's going to be up to everybody to try and figure out a way. They're already working on ways to get the driver back in service, but 99.9% chance if your truck's placed out of service because of this, you're going to have to go get it. It's no longer going to be able to just dilly-dally with it along the side there.
Okay.
So legal authority and qualification standard, FMCSA may prescribe safety requirements for CMV drivers. 49 CFR 391.11, drivers must meet qualification standards. 391.11 B2, driver must read and speak English to converse with the public, understand highway signs, signals in English, respond to official inquiries, and make entries on reports and records. Now, one of the big things with this is everybody says, hey, we're in intrastate commerce. I'm in short haul. What's this got to do with me? Well, the state of Georgia adopted all FMCSRs, all of them. So even the ones in 385 about your bills of lading. So all this applies no matter if you're intra, inter, or short haul. Disqualification criteria, drivers unable to meet English proficiency or unqualified. Applies to all CMV drivers in interstate commerce. And because Georgia adopts it, its intrastate commerce is there. Enforcement tied to safety and crash risk. Timeline. In 2005, the CVSA adds 391.11 B2 to the out of service criteria. In 2007, FMCSA issues guidance non-compliant drivers placed out of service. In 2008, sign recognition allowed in other languages if understood. This is when we started going down the road. 2014, hearing impaired drivers exempt if literate in English. 2015, CVSA removes 391.11 B2 from out of service criteria. 2016, FMCSA stops placing drivers out of service for ELP violations. Kind of see how we did it in 05 and 07, then 08, somebody said that, well, that's hurting some feelings, and then it went downhill from there.
Hey, did you need to advance that screen, by the way? Not trying to interfere in your presentation, but are you a couple of slides down?
Oh, is it not advancing on the screen?
No.
Huh. I'm not sure.
We're still on that first screen.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Kevin, maybe try coming out of presenter view and see if you can just advance it on the slide view.
All right.
There we go.
Can you see that now?
Yeah, that's the one. The last bullet says make entries on reports and records.
I apologize.
That's okay.
Well, right here is where I was at.
Okay.
You see that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So next slide is Executive Order 14286 in 2025. This was executive order enforcing common sense rules of the road. Directs FMCSA to rescind 2016 policy, reinstate 391.11 B2 as an out of service condition, issue new enforcement guidance, and coordinate with CVSA for uniform enforcement. So everything's back in play. Everything has changed to the point to where you are now going to be held responsible. Safety and compliance implications. Non-compliance increases crash risk. They are proving, and you look, I'm gonna be honest too. You know, we're having just as many crashes with English speaking drivers as we are non-English speaking drivers. Excuse me, I'm sorry. But one of the things we're doing is all of those drivers that are in English speaking and non-English speaking, what we are doing is they're looking at the different crash statistics, and those crash statistics are showing that the majority of crashes with non-English speaking drivers is due to the fact that road signs were missed, overhead, the light up signs were missed, things of that nature. So they're making sure now that everything can be understood, read, and conveyed back. Non-compliance increases crash risk. ELP violations now treated as serious safety concerns. It will raise your score. Placing drivers out of service improves safety outcomes, and FMCSA as well as roadside inspectors must follow updated policy. They do not have a choice.
Kevin,
I
believe Elizabeth Johnson has a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Elizabeth, do you have a question?
Yes, sorry, there we go. I couldn't get my mute button undone. So just a quick question. Does this pertain to all CMVs or only CDLs?
This is for the CMVs and the CD. This is for both.
Okay, so if they drive over 10,001 and do not have a CDL, this still will apply, correct?
Yes, because you're operating a commercial motor vehicle.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So compliance expectations, policies effective immediately, applies to all federal inspections in the U.S. So when it says that, state officers give federal inspections because they're following the federal guidelines of inspections. The state has its own little rules too on stuff, certain load securement things, stuff like that. They have state stuff. But this applies to all of them in the U.S., excludes Puerto Rico, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, American Samoa. Regulated entities must comply with 391.11(b)(2). ELP assessment overview. All inspections must begin in English. If a driver struggles, initiate ELP assessment, driver interview, highway traffic sign recognition. Step 1, driver interview. Purpose, evaluate ability to respond to official inquiries in English. So this is straight from policy. Ask the driver, where did your trip begin and where are you headed? How many hours have you been driving today? Can you show me your logbook or ELD? What class of license do you hold? What are you hauling today? Any hazardous materials? Can you show me your fire extinguisher or air brake system? Every question has to be around what they are operating as a commercial driver. So CDL or not, in a commercial vehicle, every one of these applies to what you're doing. None of these questions needs to be, hey, can you tell me your sister's name in English? Can you tell me what you had for breakfast this morning? None of that applies. It has to strictly stick with the operation of a commercial motor vehicle. When you're looking at doing interviews with drivers, you can speak to them. So one of the things that I was actually approached by the Speaker of the House in Georgia, and he called me to talk to me about, when I was still with the feds, about how to approach this from a non-discriminatory, in a non-discriminatory fashion. So the way they do that is what they've been doing for 30 years. Every officer, to include federal officers, roadside, start with a meet and greet. The meet and greet is the very beginning of every roadside inspection. So the meet and greet is, hi, my name is, I'm officer with the state of, I'm here going to be conducting a roadside inspection on your CMV and on you as a driver. Do you understand? Yes. All right. Can you tell me your name and who you drive for? Because you want to verify it's the name on the door. All right. You tell me your name. If you struggle with that, or you don't understand the fact that I'm giving you a level 1, I may even say, hey, I'm going to be conducting a level 1 inspection with you today. Do you understand what a level 1 inspection is? If they can tell me, then we're good. If I can get this first meet and greet conversation over with, then I'm not going to conduct an ELP, because I am communicating with this driver through introduction, meet and greet about what I'm doing, who I work for, who that driver works for, and you go on with that. And if that is broken down and it cannot be understood, then you implement the ELP, and you let the driver know in English that you're implementing the ELP. And at no point can that driver or the officer use any translator in any mobile device or any device in the truck. They cannot have anyone come help them or anything else to get them to understand what you're saying. So it all starts with the meet and greet. Interview must be conducted in English. No interpreters, cue cards, apps, or translation tools allowed. If driver fails, cite under 391.11B2, do not proceed to step 2. So if you can't get through these questions and the meet and greet, you don't even go on to step 2. Step 2 is highway traffic sign recognition. Evaluate ability to understand U.S. highway signs. Assessment process. Explain the purpose of the sign evaluation. You are doing this to make sure that you understand visually what is being conveyed on road signs. Select 4 signs from the approved list. Emily, I will send you an approved list. It's a book, and it's about 400 pages long, and it's got a ton of signs on it. But I have the sheet for the back of the policy that I believe you have, and those signs are the signs that can be used, and I can make sure those get out to everybody. Driver must explain the meaning of each, or ask the driver to explain the meaning of each, and driver must explain at least 3 or 4 signs satisfactorily. Explanation may be in any language if the inspector understands. Because understanding what it means, no matter how you convey it, you're passing the test. I hope that makes sense. You're speaking to me and understanding what I'm saying and conveying an answer back is one thing. If you can communicate in English to me through the English language, visually being able to read a sign and know what that sign means by pointing at it and understanding me saying, hey, what does this sign mean? And if I understand Spanish and you tell me in Spanish exactly what this sign means, then you're good. I know that sounds asinine, but you're good because you're visually understanding. You understand what I said, and you understand what the sign is conveying to the general public and to you as a driver. Sample highway traffic signs. Inspectors may select 4 signs from the following examples. Stop sign. Requires the driver to come to a complete stop at the designated location. Yield sign. Instructs the driver to give the right of way to other vehicles or pedestrians. Merge sign. Alerts the driver that traffic lanes are merging and requires safe lane integration. No U-turn sign. Prohibits the driver from making a U-turn at the location. Speed limit sign indicates maximum legal speed allowed on the roadway. Slippery when wet sign warns the driver to reduce speed and exercise caution during wet conditions. And no, it's not an old Motley Crue album. It is, but it's not. It's supposed to have been a joke. Hear anybody later. But that is the end of the present. It's that simple. So ELP being that simple, anybody want to go back over any of the other slides while I still have them up? Okay. It is a very simple process. It is a process that doesn't take too long. Implementing this process into your orientation. When you come into orientation, sitting down and talking to a driver. One of the things you want to look at is that driver's application. They're doing it online, so most of it will be digital, so you can't really see if the driver can write, read English or not. They may have somebody read the thing to them. When they come in to do the interview, sit down with them during the interview. Hey, how are you? My name is, what's your name? Hey, can you give me a little bit of experience that you've had, driving a mixer or belt truck or pump truck? You ever worked with concrete? You know anything about it? Finishing crews. Hey, are you going to be driving a truck 10,001 over? Don't think they're out of the woods either. They'll get pulled in just like anybody else will. I got a few companies you can call and ask that question about, but make sure they understand whenever you're talking to them. And if you can get through that introduction right there, hey, you don't even have to implement this. You put in your notes during your interview process. You establish good communication in English without any translators or blah, 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 blah. Make it a good disclaimer in your file. Stick it in the file with the driver. Driver gets pulled over a little while later. Driver's from Russia, and he goes in and says, Vladivostok. As soon as that guy says something to him in English and he spoke fine to you, let him be out of service, get him back to the office, find him and fire him, because he did that on purpose just to play dumb. And there's a lot of them out there doing that. They're just doing it to play dumb, see if they can get placed out of service. And then they'll walk in and speak English like nobody's business. But now you have an out of service on your record, because they're not taking it off because he knows how to speak it 10 minutes later. It's there. And the one language that they use roadside when they do that is, at the time of inspection, this was like this. You got a light out in the back. Hey, driver, this light back here is out. I got a bulb. Some officers like myself, hey, you got a bulb for this light back here? Yeah, well, this light's out. It's not a blinker. It's not a brake. You just got a marker light out. If you can replace it when I come back around and I check all your flashers, we'll be good with it. Some officers are, excuse me, that's my security. But some officers, what they do is they see a light out, don't say a word to the driver. They'll write it up, and when they write it up, they'll start going around and showing the driver everything. Now you already have an out of service because they didn't give the driver a break because a bump or something, running off road, knocked the light out, and they got one to replace it with. When it comes to English language proficiency, they'll lose their jobs if they play that game. So they're not going to lose their job. They're going to play it. So hire them right, hire them good, and put them on the road and make sure they understand, and, hey, make them your best driver. And that's it. If anybody's got any questions.
Looks like Zach has a
Hey,
question.
Zach.
Yeah, when it comes to orientation or weeding these people out when you're doing the hiring, what is the best approach? I mean, is HR, are there webinars for HR to look into this, to start using some type of tactics or or good practices for this kind of stuff?
So if HR speaks to these drivers, so here's the dynamic that is happening nowadays. A lot of people never speak to these new drivers. They never see these new drivers. They never talk to these new drivers over the phone or anything until they show up for orientation. So one of the things that's a good tactic to use is when you talk to one on the phone, make sure they understand what you're saying. Do not speak to them in another language. Make sure that it's them you're talking to, and say, hey, is this who it says it is? And talk to them a little bit. If they're having to get somebody on the other end of the phone to answer questions for them, or you hear them say, you get a lot of and hums, then may want to say, hey, tell you what, can you be here tomorrow so we can go through some of the qualification process? Bring them in. It may just have been a phone thing. Bring them in, sit down and have that conversation. Hey, this is me. This is you. Tell me how much experience you got. Make a little thing for your wall up there with some road signs on it, and say, hey, this sign right here, can you tell me what this sign means? This sign means that I'm going to be sitting in front of this on this, enjoying myself while Bill's still in Atlanta traffic. But, you know, put a road sign up there on these behind you on the wall and say, hey, you know, can you read this? What does this mean? What does this mean? If you were pulled over for an inspection, would you be able to show the driver, the officer, your E-rods? Yeah. Can you explain to me how you would show those E-rods to him by way of this book right here? And hand them the instruction manual for the ELD if you've got one or anything else. And if you're not using that, just just general conversation. If they can get through general conversation with you about that truck, about their experience, about these road signs and everything, you're good.
Have you had any, have you known or have known or been or heard anything from any pushback from any organizations, whether it be Hispanic or other language speaking?
Oh yeah,
That
yeah. You've had the Russian coalition. You've had the Spanish speaking. Forget what they called us, like Spanish speaking discrimination lawsuit. It's been filed. It was filed with the government and dropped about 3 weeks later. The state of Georgia had a lawsuit filed against them from the Hispanic workers something, and then the Korean workers something filed one. And then they basically said, hey, look, we start every conversation the same. Hey, my name is, what's your name? Where'd you start today? Where are you going today? Not outside of the realm of what they're doing, and they don't understand how to speak English. And here's the book. We're sorry that you're mad about it, but nothing to do. Every lawsuit has been dropped so far.
okay. And so being consistent with the HR and hiring practices is probably a good plan as well, right?
It is. It is. I mean, hey, if I come in, I you know what? I couldn't drive a mixer truck in Michigan because I speak too much redneck. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They don't know it. I mean, but yeah, I mean, you do the same thing with everybody. You start the conversation off the same every time. Hey, my name is, your name is, and what kind of experience do you have?
I mean, even with English speaking folks, you're going to point at the behind them because there are some folks that just don't know.
Look, I did an interview with a driver on a crash one time. He was a witness. Okay. He was a witness to the crash. He was right beside the truck when the car shot off the side of the interstate off that road right in front of him. It was death by suicide is what it was. But he pulled his car and just yanked it out and turned it sideways in front of a truck running 77 miles an hour. But the guy beside him witnessed the whole thing. Never touched one of them, but witnessed the whole thing. I interviewed him during the crash interview. This guy left school in the 8th grade. Did not know how to read, did not know how to do, but he knew what the signs meant just by the pictures.
Yeah.
He couldn't tell you what it said, but he never learned to read. But he could explain what each one of these signs meant and knew them all. I mean, we pointed out 30 of them to this guy. Anything he would pass. Even the road signs above it that says, ice free or bridge freezes before roadway, stuff like that. I mean, he looked at the sign and said, yeah, that bridge right there get too cold. It'll get cold and freeze before the road does. I mean,
yeah, okay.
The man knows what he don't know how to read, but he knows how to do this. Then my question,
no matter who they are.
Question came up, how'd you get a CDL? He said, I got my CDL in 1979. Didn't have to read. So I was like, well, got a point there.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else got any other questions?
I got one.
Okay.
What was the process when somebody's back off of service because you don't understand or speak English that day? You got nervous or, like you said, just playing around. What was the process to come back in service?
So a lot of what happens is, and what's happening now is they're being placed out of service. Once they're placed out of service, they'll take them before they call the company, they'll bring them into the office and they'll sit them down. They'll say, hey, you need a bottle of water or something. Because some of it is just a bundle of freaking nerves. I mean, you speak good English. You've been in the country for 6 months and everybody's being deported. you know, you're scared to death of what's going to happen next. You know, am I even going to see my wife and kids tomorrow? But I mean, you get out and drive the highways, you got that question. But, you know, a lot of these officers are being real sympathetic about it and saying, all right, come on in. Come in, you know, sit down, get a bottle of water. Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you real nervous here today? Yeah. Look, nobody's here to deport you. Nobody's here to do anything to you. And sometimes you can sit and calm these people down and let them know that you're not there to send anybody home. You're not there to send them to jail. You're not going to jail today because you don't speak good English. What's going on? And then a lot of the officers I'm talking to and a lot of the feds I'm talking to are saying it's not a high number. They're saying about 30% of those will calm down when they get in there. And then they'll say, hey, all right, let's go back out to the truck. I need you to show me your logs. I need me to show you, and I'm going to show you some road signs, and let's go through this again. Okay. And the speech is a little slow, but they communicate because now they're not scared to death. That's about 30%. The rest of them, no clue. None. Just none. Here in Springfield, Georgia, down here in Savannah, we've got a lot of Ecuador, just Central America, Panamanian drivers that are driving on Panamanian, Ecuadorian, El Salvador, a Venezuelan driver's license, and it's not even accepted in the U.S. You got to have a Mexican CDL, or from Mexico, or American. That's the only one, and they're coming from Venezuela up here with a Venezuelan CDL. It don't matter if you speak English or not. That CDL is not accepted here. You got to go get one of ours, or go to Mexico and get one there, and then come here. But you know, but the biggest thing is once they're placed out of service, and they're not working out in the scale house with them, somebody's going to have to go recover the vehicle. Somebody's going to have to recover the driver. Can you keep that driver in a safety sensitive position? You can, as long as it's not driving a truck. But if they don't read and speak English, do you want them out there being a mechanic on your truck? Because that's safety sensitive as well. Can it be in dispatch? That's safety sensitive as well. Now, could they work doing something else for your company? Absolutely. Just a general laborer for your company? Absolutely. A finishing crew. If you're driving it and you got a health card and somebody else got a health card, swap seats, go to work. It's out of service, but now he's not driving. Just swap seats and go to work. I know a lot of companies, especially down here in Savannah. Down here in Savannah, the problem is not Hispanic, it's Russian, believe it or not, and Korean. It's not a don't habla, it's a don't pay, and whatever it is in Russian, you know, Vladivostok. That's the only thing I know in Russian. That's why I say it all the time. But so a lot of companies down here are getting a introductory book to Rosetta Stone and just letting them have it. It's like a little app. They'll get the app for the driver and they'll let them be a general laborer around, you know, working in the yard. You know, as long as they're running in the yard, they can do a yard dog. They can do any of that stuff as long as they're on private property. And giving them a couple of weeks to get that going. And then once you're satisfied that they can pass a roadside inspection, get back in touch with the scale house and say, hey, I got a driver. You placed out of service. And we're going to put him back in a truck because we feel now that that he is sufficient enough to do that. But one of the things that helps the most is from the office. If you have Spanish speaking employees, don't speak Spanish to them on the phone. If you're calling them and giving them directions, don't give it to them in Spanish. Don't give them to them in German. Don't give it to them in Korean. Speak to them all day long in English, and that will teach them English quicker than anything because now they got to figure it out. You know, maybe help them a little, but wing them off of it. Like the company my wife works for, they've got a Hispanic driver. He speaks English just as good as anybody, just good as me. He reads road signs. He's lived here for 5 years, but they dispatch him in Spanish because he says he can understand that quicker. And that's failure number one. Keep it fluid, keep it consistent, and drivers will pick up on it. Just like me. You know, if you go to Mexico, I can't, like, if I want to go down there and start a business, until I speak Spanish fluently, I'm not even allowed to get a business license in that country. I can't even start a business until I know how to speak the language. And then people want to sue people up here because we don't let them do that. So, you know, it's just it's looking out for the safety and well-being of the motoring public, for the driver themselves. I mean, you're going, Lopez, if you got a driver, you own a truck and you own a brand new Great Dane 53-foot trailer, you just paid $90,000 for, and he got a brand new Peterbilt, got stacks that go up about 13.8. He's coming up on a 12.6 bridge and he don't know how to read that. That's fixing to be a bad problem. So yeah, that's going to be about a $500,000 problem by the time you get done fixing the bridge. It probably won't have nothing wrong with it, but now they can redo it. So I mean, it saves your P&L, it saves your bottom line, it saves the safety of everybody around you, it saves the structures, it saves, you know, like doing the U-turn in the middle of I-95 in Florida. I mean, who does that in an 18-wheeler? The little roads that cut through for the officers. Who in their right mind would take an 18-wheeler and try to U-turn it right there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon on 95? If you ain't ever been down 95, look, you better make sure your life insurance is good before you get on I-95. I live around Savannah, and we have on average 3 deaths a week on I-16.
Oh my.
And we have on average from the Georgia state line at South Carolina over here at exit 109 all the way down to Jacksonville, we have an average of 2 deaths on 95 every week. So we got 5 deaths between Macon here and South Carolina and Georgia. And it's only 109 miles from there to there, you know, but 2 deaths we had this week so far. We've had 2 fatalities on 16 already. But, you know, and I don't know how much of that's, you know, Hispanic, Russian, Korean. You're getting a lot of Middle Eastern now, a lot of Middle Eastern. And those are the companies that are really causing the problems. It's not Hispanic drivers. It's not, I mean, these are drivers that are coming from Pakistan. They're coming from Istanbul. They're coming from Iraq, Iran, Syrian drivers, a lot of stuff like that. Not knocking them. I got a lot of good friends of mine that are Iraqi. A lot of good Pakistani friends of mine. But the one thing they do when they move here is learn how to speak the English, because they'll tell you, I learned to speak the English because I don't want to get screwed on my taxes. That's exactly what they'll tell you. But yeah, once they're out of service, it's up to you to put them back in service. Okay. Because on the out of service criteria, when they're out of service, it's going to say they're out of service, you know, until the out of service is fixed. And you got to go back to the officer that wrote it. That officer might not even work there no more. But make sure that they're sufficient and put them back out there. Just tell them, look, don't get nervous. Tell drivers, they're not out there to yank you out of the truck and ship you home. They're just out there to make sure you speak English. So what's the best way to avoid getting in a confrontation? Speak English. If you can just answer those first 3 or 4 questions from that officer, introduction, hey, this is me. Hey, how you doing today? I'm good. Can you show me your ELD? Absolutely. If you got to get the manual out to show how to do the 7 days, that's why they made the manual. That's why it's a rule, which that's actually about to go away. But that's why they made it. So everybody can read it and know how to do it, so you can get it to the officer. Can I see your permit book? Yep. You get it right here. Here you go. Here's your insurance. Just simple questions. As long as they can get through that, they'll not get an ELP. So hope that helped you there, Robinson.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good questions. Anyone else got anything for Kevin? Well, I won't prolong anyone's time. Kevin, again, I do appreciate you presenting for us today and being willing, and I appreciate the input. Good questions all the way around, I believe. Bill, you got anything to close us out with?
No, just appreciate it. Again, as always, Kevin, thank you, my friend.
I appreciate y'all more than you know. A lot more than you know.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Thank you.
Y'all be safe. Take care.
Have a good
Thanks,
day.
Kevin. It's a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.